Chapter 1. The Red Brick Promise. The first thing Winston Sinclair noticed every morning was the red. Not the loud artificial red of stoplights or neon signs, but the deep, weathered red of brick. Brick that had survived more than a century of rain, protest marches, homecomings, and history. The buildings of Frederick Douglass University stood tall along Georgia Avenue, their arches and columns deliberate, dignified. They did not beg for attention. They commanded it. Founded in 1891 by formerly enslaved scholars and black abolitionists who believed education was resistance, the university carried itself like an elder. Its bell tower rose above campus like a watchful guardian. Its library, Carter Hall, housed first-edition texts by black intellectuals who had shaped entire movements. On Founders' Day, students recited the school's motto, "From knowledge, we rise." Winston liked that. He liked the idea of rising. At 6 feet even, clean-shaven head catching the morning light, Winston moved through campus with quiet certainty. His build leaned athletic, not gym-obsessed, but disciplined. He walked with the relaxed posture of someone who knew where he was going. And he usually did. Sophomore year had settled into rhythm. His computer science coursework was demanding but structured. Algorithms in the morning, data structures in the afternoon, late-night debugging sessions in the lab that smelled faintly of burnt coffee and overheated processors. He liked the logic of it. If something didn't work, you found the error. If the code failed, you fixed it. Clean. Contained. Predictable. He pushed open the door to the STEM building and felt the familiar blast of air conditioning. "Sinclair!" Malcolm's voice echoed before Winston even saw him. Malcolm Reed stood near the vending machines, tall and lean, glasses perched slightly too low on his nose. A political science major with debate team credentials that bordered on obsessive, Malcolm dressed like he was already running for office, button-down shirts, fitted slacks, loafers that somehow stayed spotless. "You're late," Malcolm said. "I'm 2 minutes early," Winston replied. "For you, late." Winston shook his head. "You practicing that for your future campaign speeches?" Malcolm smirked. "I'm practicing for when I run this city." Behind him, Terrence T.J. Brooks appeared, earbuds hanging around his neck, hoodie crisp and expensive. TJ was majoring in finance, but he talked like he already owned 3 startups. He had a way of scanning rooms like he was evaluating investment opportunities. "Don't listen to Malcolm," TJ said. "He's just mad his student senate bill didn't pass." "It was a reform initiative," Malcolm corrected. "It was a cafeteria petition," Elijah Grant said dryly as he joined them. Elijah was the quiet one. Biology pre-med, always carrying at least 2 textbooks and a half-eaten granola bar. He spoke less than the others, but when he did, it landed. The 4 of them stood there for a moment, laughing in the fluorescent glow of the hallway. They had met at freshman orientation. Malcolm had introduced himself first, of course, leading some impromptu discussion about campus legacy. TJ had immediately asked about internship pipelines. Elijah had been there because he'd taken a wrong turn. Winston had listened, amused, then chimed in. By the end of the week, they were inseparable. They called themselves the Crew. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't deep, but it was theirs. And on a campus built on legacy, belonging mattered. By mid-afternoon, Winston found himself crossing the quad, sun warming his shoulders. Students lounged on blankets. Someone blasted old-school R&B from a portable speaker. The scent of food trucks drifted in from the curb. Fried fish, jerk chicken, vegan wraps. Frederick Douglass University had that kind of energy. Ambition wrapped in culture. Excellence wrapped in ease. He spotted her near the steps of Carter Hall. Amara Johnson. She stood with her locks pulled back into a low bun, gold hoops catching the light. She was a sophomore, too, majoring in communications with a minor in digital media. Her laugh carried easily across space, confident and warm. When she saw him, her face softened. "You survived algorithms?" she asked as he approached. "Barely." She handed him an iced coffee without asking what he wanted. She already knew. "You staying for the poetry showcase tonight?" she asked. "If you're reading." She nudged him. "You only come when I read." "That's not true," he said. "I also come for the snacks." She rolled her eyes but smiled. Amara had a steadiness to her that Winston admired. She had grown up in Southeast D.C., first-generation college student, fiercely driven. She edited the campus digital magazine and spoke with clarity about representation in media spaces. With her, Winston felt grounded. He leaned against the stone railing beside her. Across the quad, Malcolm was animatedly explaining something to two freshmen. TJ was mid-call, pacing like he was closing a deal. Elijah sat beneath a tree, highlighter in hand, completely unfazed by the world around him. "This is going to be our year," Malcolm had said at the start of the semester. "Sophomore year sets the tone." Winston believed him. He was on track for an internship in the spring. His GPA sat comfortably above a 3.7. Professors respected him. He had plans. Graduate with honors, maybe pursue cybersecurity, maybe launch something tech-driven of his own. He and Andre had talked about it once. "You're going to be the smart one," his older brother had teased during winter break. "I'll protect the country. You build it." Andre had always been bigger than life, 4 years older, a Marine with broad shoulders and an easy grin, the kind of man who filled doorways and quieted rooms without trying. Winston rarely worried about him. Andre was strong. Andre was capable. Andre was permanent. That night, the crew gathered in Malcolm's dorm room for their usual Friday ritual. Pizza boxes stacked high, textbooks abandoned for a few hours. "You think we'll still be this tight in 10 years? TJ asked suddenly, leaning back in his chair. "In 10 years, I'll be mayor," Malcolm said. "You'll need appointments to see me." "I'll be your financial advisor," TJ shot back. "I'll be operating on you," Elijah added calmly. They looked at Winston. "What about you?" Malcolm asked. Winston shrugged. "I don't know. Something big." "That's not an answer," Amara said from the floor where she sat cross-legged, scrolling through her phone. "Tech, maybe my own company, something that matters." "It will," she said simply. The room buzzed with certainty. Youth does that. It wraps the future in confidence and calls it inevitability. Outside, sirens wailed faintly in the distance, a normal DC soundtrack. Malcolm raised a soda can like a toast. "To the crew!" "To the crew," they echoed. Winston clinked his can against theirs. He believed in this moment, in red brick and rising, in algorithms and ambition, in friendship that felt immovable. He believed in permanence. Hours later, long after laughter had quieted and the campus settled into its midnight hum, Winston walked back toward his dorm beneath the glow of lampposts. The bell tower stood outlined against the sky. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He glanced at the screen. Dad. It was almost 1 a.m., a crease formed between his brows. His parents rarely called this late. He answered. "Hello?" There was no immediate response, just breathing, heavy, unsteady. "Dad?" His father's voice came through strained, thinner than Winston had ever heard it. "Winston, you need to come home." The red brick around him seemed to tilt. "Why? What happened?" Silence. Then, "It's Andre." The world did not shatter loudly. It did not explode. It shifted. And in that shift, something permanent broke. The red brick promise, the certainty of rising, of brotherhood, of tomorrow, suddenly felt fragile. Winston stood beneath the lamplight, campus quiet around him. future unraveling in the space between heartbeats. And for the first time since stepping onto Frederick Douglass University's grounds, he did not know where he was going.